I think we had a swimmer, an Olympic swimmer we were meant to interview, but he's come down with a cold, so we can't do him this morning.
That would have sounded so sexy.
Yeah, it would have, eh?
Yeah, like I'm so like swimming today.
And you seen, and these guys' bodies are like, I look at him like, dude, please put a shirt on. But if I looked like that, would I ever wear a shirt, even in the middle of winter? Not a chance. Tandi, what is it like with your child now when they see you on TV? Because there you are playing golf, you're commentating, I interviewed you with the Standard Bank Pro-Am series when it was a fantastic season for you last year. Like, is there an added responsibility now as a parent, as a mom? Like you miss a putt and you're like, I can't really swear, or flip a bird to the caddy for getting the line wrong, or
guilty as charged. I have been known to flip a bird. Fortunately, he doesn't know what that is yet.
Okay, good. We'll keep it. He is only 3 and a bit.
Generally, the super sport guys are quite good. They tend to edit those ones out, and then I get pulled over the coals afterwards. Yeah. I just say, I didn't swear. I didn't actually swear. Sign language is still swearing. It is very cool, though, when we're at home watching dinner and there's highlights on the TV from the week before or the event that I've just played, and there's mom sitting next to him busy trying to wrestle him to eat his macaroni cheese, and there's mom on TV, and he looks and he goes, Mom, you on TV, and you here. And it's just super cool to see his face because he's like probably confused. And he's, okay, you were playing golf. Okay. Then I'm still trying to wrestle to get the macaroni in. So
open up. Here we go.
Yeah. But for him, it's very cool. He often goes, Mommy's on TV when he sees me. Daddy, come look. And then like after a minute, he's like, okay, I'm over it. Can I put on Cocoa Melon or something for him? I was like, okay, I'm done watching you.
Yeah, overrated.
Yeah.
It was cool for a bit. But how have you enjoyed the transition? I mean, you're still playing. I know you've had a few events, and there's still quite a bit to come this year, apart from your busy schedule, which we'll get to. But you've also seemed to be seamless into the commentary space. Are you really enjoying that? Because I think you're a natural. I mean, firstly, you've got such a quick wit. And this is actually a bone of contention, Tyler. Normally, when we are interviewing Tandi anywhere, before the round starts, she's not practicing putts or anything. She's so confident in her game. She's bringing out biscuits to everyone. And we have a colleague who, the first time he got a biscuit from you, and I think you bought him a coffee, he absolutely fell in love with you. We won't mention his name right now, but he's like, he'll do anything for you. So
I'll mention it, Steve. Steve. You and I, we go a long way back. No, I'm kidding. Yes, it was just one of those weeks where I'd had biscuits and I packed them in my bag. And when you play events, you get to know all the course marshals, the starters. We had the nomads involved, I think, at that week. And Jimmy Sales, who's been around for like 30, 80 years, with nomads, both men's and women's event. I just go and give them a 1 or 2 biscuits or so just to say, hi, guys, I baked these this week. Obviously, with my little boy, they're a little bit not quite perfectly shaped. But it's just one of those things. Like, I suppose even when I was younger, just to be able to share and to give something is always nice, whether it's a way just to acknowledge, I see you there and what you're doing is great. Yeah. And, thanks for being here in the inclement weather as we are, playing in it. So I don't know. It's just something that I've always done.
That's very cool. I think it's great. I mean, you have this personality and it's bubbly and it's energy, like I just love people who are just positive all the time, and I think like you is it an infectious personality, or does that sound bad after COVID?
No, it can be infectious. Infectious is good. Infectious is good.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. In a good way. I wouldn't really say that about myself, although I have been told, that I can occasionally be quite nice to be around. I have my moments, as do we all. But I think, life in general, you've got to always try to find a way to be more upbeat, be more positive. There's a lot of negativity around, and it just depends on what you choose to see.
Sure.
And I think it's like kind of a law of attraction. If you look for the best, look for the good, then generally it comes your way. Whereas if you're always acknowledging the bad breaks, the bad side of the draw, the bad weather, I'm playing with someone I don't really enjoy playing with, then that sets the mode for your round of golf. Whereas if you kind of go, okay, well, she's a little bit challenging, I'm going to make her smile today. I'm going to tell her a joke and she's going to smile. Like, that's kind of like how I approach it. And with the weather, kind of go, well, we've all got the same conditions. Let me see if I can just really have some good grit and mettle and kind of pull through as well as I can, because I don't enjoy cold and wet, rainy weather to play golf in. I don't
No
think
ways.
anyone does.
It's not meant to be.
Unfortunately, sometimes in tournaments you have to play in that.
Yeah.
It's just like a real war of attrition. And it's a war of attrition against yourself, because you're all just keeping your fingers dry, keeping your, well, hair never gets dry, but you're trying to just keep your fingers warm, your body warm, and just try to get through that round of 18 holes.
So when you see your draw and who you're playing with, I mean, there's obviously people you enjoy playing with, you just have a chemistry or a vibe, but when it is someone that you don't get on with, is it just like a pleasantries, like a professional thing, or is it like...
I generally and genuinely don't have anyone that I don't get on with.
Yeah.
There are just some people that are very like insular and just don't like to engage. So when we're not hitting a shot, it's nice to chat in between and go, so what you doing and where you at the moment and how's your folks doing? You get those girls are just like very, very much blinkered straight down the passage. They don't want to communicate. So when I say like I look at the draw and I go, it's more a case of saying, I'm going to have a very quiet 3-ball today, or I'm going to have a very chatty 3-ball. But I think I get on well with everyone. There's just people that you just know, I haven't seen you in like 3 months. We've got so much to catch up on. Like a Nicole Garcia or Stacey Bregman when they come back out from Europe and you play with them. And it's just great because you can chat to them about the tournaments and where they've been and what they've been up to. Because I used to play with them overseas in Europe and go, how's this player doing and how's this player doing?
That's cool.
So that just gives you something to chat about in between, whereas the girls who are very insular and quiet. And also, in fairness, also some of the younger girls who are still trying to kind of find their way as to, am I the kind of player that just focuses or do I engage or do I kind of engage in controlled spurts? So those are generally the ones that are quite quiet. They're still trying to figure things out, what works for
business.
them. Yeah, strictly golf.
Nicole and Stacey, obviously fantastic. But you did have your time on the European Tour, Ladies European Tour. What was that like? I mean, when you first got there and that experience, because I think for a lot of women and young girls who are starting to play golf now and see that they can forge a career, that's an attainable target, Like it's not something that's just, I know you have to graft hard, but women's golf has really progressed in the last few years that South African women are now becoming forces on the global circuit. I mean, you look at Ashley Bohai, what she's been doing. It's incredible. But take us back to your sort of journey there and your experience, because I imagine there was also pressure at the same time.
Absolutely. I think when I first went to European Tour School, and that was just finishing my amateur career, and then deciding I'm going to turn professional, I want to go play this game for a living now and actually pursue a professional career, you're very much on your own. There wasn't much in the form of sponsorship and backing and how to get there. And there wasn't really like the network that there is now. Yes, there were girls who played, but it wasn't as, I'm going to say, as supportive as it is now. If any of the young girls want to go to tour school now, we all say, girls, phone us if you need to help with visas, travel, logistics, where to go, where to stay, when to fly. Yeah. Speak to us. We're here. We can help you. Whereas back then, you just kind of figure it out yourself. And
you were the pioneer in a way.
In many ways. And then before us, it was the likes of the Sally Littles or the Lorette Maritz or the Mandy Adamsons who went and did it. And there was one of them who went and did it. And then there was a gap. And then another one went. And then another one went. So when I went to go and play, Leanne Pace was starting to do very, very well. Morgana Robertson was still playing. Stacey Bregman, we're the same age. So she actually turned pro a year before me. Ashley Buhai, who was then Simon, she was playing. And that was kind of like the South African fraternity that went and played. And we kind of traveled together, and occasionally we'd split up because you do kind of get sick of each other every week. And then you get back together after 3 weeks, and then, okay, we're braaiing this week.
Yeah.
We're braaiing sausages because it's what you do in foreign countries. They don't have vorst and chops and steak, but yeah, you come back together. But it was quite tough from the point of view that there was no mentorship to guide you as to how to get there, what to do, what to expect. And funny enough, before I went for my first tour school, I played golf with one of the ladies who's now still playing, but in her senior years. And she said that you've got to be shooting like 6-7 under par every time you pick it up or you're wasting your time. And that like scared the hell into me as to, geez, I'm not shooting 7 under every round. Like I'm shooting 3-4 under, but not 7 under. And it kind of messed with my head a bit, thinking like, I'm not good enough. I was a top amateur, so at that time I was number 2 in the country. I'd won a whole bunch of events as an amateur, and I felt like I was ready to move on. I was 21 at the time, so I had a nice long amateur career. I kind of got my full junior and senior national colours, and like it also got to a point where there's nothing more to play for, because if you stay, you just become an older player that can't move on. You kind of
Sure.
get stuck in no man's land. So I said, I want to turn pro. So I turned pro irrespective, went to tour school, and I did get a card the first year. And it wasn't as grueling as I thought it would be. And just to have someone say, just go play your normal game, don't put yourself under too much pressure, make sure you got adequate clothing, because it is a lot colder there when you go play in Europe.
Sure.
And we're just not used to playing in -10, which is what I played my first round in.
What?
Yeah, I woke up and I said, oh, do we actually play? And they said, yeah. I said, but it's -10. It's like, I've never experienced -10. The next day was
Where
-1.
was
And I was
that?
like, yes, it was in Spain, south of Spain.
Goodness.
And they had one of their coldest winters. So your tour school's at the end of the year, normally November, December, because your season then starts
Sure.
in January, February in Australia from the following year. So at the end of the year, once their season's done, they have their tour school, and that then sets you up. So it always has to be in the south of Europe, which happened to be Spain that year. And it was freezing cold. Like, it was sleeting. And I still
Wow.
thought, do we actually keep playing? And like, parts of the ground were frozen because they'd irrigated overnight and it had frozen. And there were like ice patches on the fairway. And I just thought to myself, I can't hit all this. Like, seriously? But
That's crazy.
No, they do. As the day went
Yeah.
on, obviously they eventually melted. But it's just to have a little bit of guidance from someone that's been there, who's walked the path before, to then relay back and go, it's not that scary.
Yeah.
Stay focused, do all the right stuff, but don't be scared. Like, you've got the game, and you wouldn't be looking at this if you weren't ready. So where it's different now is that the girls who went to go to tour school this last year, they're a lot younger, or more or less the same age I was when I went, but they've had a great...
I mean, you're late 20s at the moment, so...
Oh, before VAT. Yes, before we add VAT. Yes. So when they went last year, we all, myself, Stacey, Nicole, made ourselves accessible and said, what do you need help with? What do you want to know? What do you have doubts about?
That's
and just to
amazing.
kind of get them understanding that when they go, this is what to expect. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to pack that. So at least they're a little bit more prepared. They've still got to go through the learning curve, make the mistakes,
Of course.
and cut their own teeth. But at least they're not in their own. And there's one thing I think that's sort of grown over the last couple of years as the game of golf has grown with the tournaments, more events, Standard Bank Series. We've also got a couple of standalone proms coming up that is a joint venture with Leisure Golf and Standard Bank, as well as the Sunshine Ladies Tour now has launched a Vodacom Origin Series, which is a joint
brilliant.
event with the men. That's going to be exciting
Yeah, that's
to play.
fun.
Yeah, so obviously playing for the same prize fund. There's 4 events of those coming up through the course of the year. There's just so much more opportunity to play. Whereas when I first turned pro, we had one tournament. And then you had to go overseas. But if you'd never been overseas, it's a big step to take. You get very
expensive
comfortable.
step to
Oh,
take.
don't even go there. Very expensive step. And also when you go to someone, 20 years ago and say, listen, I want to play professional golf. They go, sorry, what? Women's professional golf.
Yeah.
And it's like a bit of a very unrecognized area, whereas now it's more familiar. So if you do want to approach a corporate and say, I want to play professional golf, I'm looking for a sponsor, there's a lot more of it that's currently being exposed. You can actually go, geez, there's great mileage out of this. Let's have a look at it as a corporate.
So that mindset is changing now. I mean, I think the focus on women's sport in general in South Africa, but in women's golf in particular, I think people are now realizing it's not just a sport that the boys are playing on weekends or Ernies and that sort of thing. There's actually a really huge talent base that's coming through of talented women who are doing their thing for South Africa.
Absolutely. And more than that, more than the women that are just playing the game at a professional level, the amateur contingent of up-and-coming businesswomen, execs that are
great.
wanting to pursue golf, that are in those positions in corporates that are kind of going, listen, we've always understood that golf is where business is conducted on the course. So on Friday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, we're going to go play our golf, and that's where we actually have our meetings in the corporate world. But there's a massive influx of women playing the game now. And I think with those women being in corporate, playing golf, there's now like a huge synergy between let's put this into, put the focus into women's sport and uplifting women into playing. And as you say, it's not just golf, but it is very prevalent in the corporate to have those execs and CEOs, CFOs who play golf.
Well, I stay pretty much on a golf course, and
Oh, shame.
on a terrible life. But what struck me is in the time that I've been staying there, the amount of little girls, I mean, from, I imagine, 6 to 10 with dad, walking them, and it's like, I think the course, if I'm not mistaken, actually has rounds for kiddies, like, so it's young boys and girls, but
Yeah.
the amount of little girls that have dad walking around and they're playing the round, it's great to see, because it just means that the sport is becoming, like, it's just becoming, I don't know how to put it, but not accessible. It's always been accessible, but it's more like acceptable, or I don't even know if acceptable is the right word, but it's just like,
It's just more universal now.
yeah, they want to play.
Yeah.
Little girls. I mean, before you would think little girls, why would they want to play golf? But now, obviously, the work that you guys have done, it's changed the game. It really has, and it's great to see.
I think there's been a massive demographic shift, because many years ago I was involved with the SA Kids, and I would go and do some of their prize givings. And that is kids from the age of 5 up to, I think, about 12. I may have the categories wrong, but plus minus. And there was basically an eighth, maybe a 10th of those players were girls. And there was like one in each age category. And funny enough, this weekend I'm actually going to Centurion for another SA Kids event. And from what I've heard, it's now there's almost more girls than there is boys now.
Fantastic.
At these various age
That's amazing.
categories. And it just means that it's just more accessible.
Yeah.
It's more acceptable. When I first started playing golf, if you didn't wear like khaki trousers and like those nasty golf shoes with like the flap on the top and a shirt that was 3 sizes too big.
Remember those shoes?
Oh, they were
That
so
shocked us.
terrible. Oh, the spikes at the bottom. Jeez. So that's kind of, I'm giving away my age now. But that's when I started. There was like no golf girls apparel. I mean, now you go shopping.
No,
It's amazing. And the girls can do a lot more with their clothing than what guys can. There's a lot more leeway. But it just shows that there's a movement.
It's great. It's great. I want to just touch on something. You said when you went out there, you had the senior pro telling you, you need to shoot the 7 under rounds. And then you felt like, maybe I'm not good enough. From a mental health point of view, firstly, you're going out to unknown territory in Europe. It's -10, -1, whatever it is, brand new country. What's going on in your head? Because the mental toughness of golf, I don't think people speak enough of, because it is an individual sport at the end of the day. You're the one hitting the ball, having to sink the big putt. Did you have sort of someone you could talk to, or you know what I mean, like, just to process what's going on? Because it was a huge step in your career, and there's a certain amount of vulnerability there, because you are doing what you're doing for a living in this new sort of, I suppose, uncharted waters.
Yeah, if I look back at it now, excuse me, the first year that I went out and played professional golf on the European tour, like a large portion, I was just ignorant. Like, I didn't know any better. And like, ignorance is bliss. So the less you know, the less you're aware of, until people or yourself start to become aware of, okay, geez, if I don't make a cut this week, X amount of cash down, I've got to make sure I make a cut next week. So then all those things start to tally up. But you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
So as you kind of go through the different rungs of development of playing your first year, playing your second year, and kind of cutting your teeth, so to speak, you then learn these different things. And the thing that I struggled with the mental wellness or the golf psychological healthiness with a golfer, was I struggled to play with someone else's money.
Okay.
Mentally, it messed with my head, because I started to become very tense on the golf course, and it affected my putting drastically. Like, I just couldn't make putts. I'd hit the ball fantastic, give myself an abundance of opportunities, but not convert that into a hole. And it became a physical manifestation of tension, just because if I don't make this putt, I'm not going to do this. And like, almost like this little tally in your head starts going. And I'm that kind of person where I'm very aware of what's happening, what this means, where this shot will move me in the field. So I'm not just kind of happy-go-lucky going along like a Pooh Bear just playing golf.
Of course.
You get those players who are like that, who do very well, who are a little bit oblivious and don't actually know what they're doing.
Like, oh, is that my score?
As in, like, they shoot a great, yeah. And sometimes they actually fare quite well,
Sure.
because they just get on with it.
Sure.
There's no fear. And I think fear is something that you learn. It's a learned behavior. And sometimes it's passed on from your mentors or your coaches. I had a coach at the time who operated from a bit of a sense of fear, and that eventually started to become my modus operandi, until eventually I thought, this is not me. This is not my style. I'm a little bit more confident, aggressive, and I need to play that way. And that's when I started playing better golf. So it is important to kind of know yourself, know what your limitations are, and the people that you put around you in your support structure, that they understand who you are and what your shortcomings are. You have to know that you struggle with playing under pressure, because you've got to pay money back, or you struggle with a 2-shot lead, you're more comfortable with a 6-shot lead. Well, we're all comfortable with a 6-shot lead, but you know what I'm saying. You got to know yourself, but to kind of go through that process, you have to go and play and make the mistakes.
Yeah.
You can't sidestep experience, and experience comes from going through the university of life, hard knocks, making mistakes and learning from it. And the funny thing is, when I look back now, I'm 37 years old now. I've played the best golf, I think, in my 30s, having leveraged off all those things I learned in my early 20s, playing in Europe, playing some events really well, playing some events properly mediocre, and some events where just I was worrying about all the other stuff, all the other peripheral
External,
stuff. Boyfriends, paying back money, where am I going to get to from here? What am I doing with my life?
Is that like, would that be on the tee? Sort of thing, or would it? You know
it's
what I'm
going
trying
at
to
100 k's an hour while you're over a shot.
No.
Yeah, it's like running.
Oh
It just
my
depends. You know,
goodness.
if you're playing good golf
Yeah.
and you're in a good space, everything flows. It's like your mindset's very clear. When you're struggling, or you need to make a cut, or you're not playing well, or you're going through a bit of a transition in your swing, or you're just not trusting your game, that's when almost like all the demons start to rear their head. And it's at the worst time. You know, normally when your mental faculties are strong, you don't acknowledge things like distractions or people making a noise around you. But when you are unsettled, you notice everything. I mean, I can hear people breathing 4 fairways across when you're distracted. It's just,
Sure.
It's the nature of how it is. And it's just about trying to find that calmness to get back to center. But again, you have to learn it.
Yeah.
You have to know what chaos is to know what peace is. And you kind of have to delve in those extremes to find that happy medium. You can't just arrive. Look, those people that can arrive and just play well, fantastic. You know, you must make the most of it, because for the rest of us mere mortals who have to kind of go through the ups and downs, the peaks and troughs of performance and not doing well and loving golf, hating golf, wanting to give up, you know, thinking golf is everything, to try to find the balance. And that's all it is, just constantly trying to find that balance.
It's clear that you've been through the University of Golf and life,
And
but-
not done.
Yeah.
Far from done.
But that's what I said. But were there ever times, and you touched on it now, where you were hating golf and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore? Or was it always a case of like, how can I improve? Or let's get through this storm and look onto the next chapter or the next section? Or is it a little bit on swing adjustment? Is it let's fix the putting? Or
I have wanted to give up golf, put my clubs in the cupboard once. And when that happened was I was in my 3rd or 4th year, or my 4th year as an amateur golfer playing full-time. And I went to go play a British Open, a ladies British amateur, apologies. And I went to play a Scottish ladies event, the oldest ladies event you can play in the world. I was so nervous. I'd prepared, I'd practiced, I'd played, I'd gymmed, I'd exercised, I'd watched what I'd eaten, I'd worked with a biokineticist, I'd worked with a psychologist. I was ready. Everything was ticked. I got there and my performance imploded because of anxiety. I was like,
man.
I'm finally here. Like, what do I do? This is like so amazing. And then just performance imploded. And I ended up playing okay in the first event, like kind of made the cut. It was a top 60, then top 64, then play match play. And I got to like the 3rd or 4th round. So I did well considering I didn't feel like I was very confident. Yeah. The week after, I went to go play this event at St. Andrews. And the first round...
No pressure.
No pressure. The first round was 18 holes on the new course, which in my opinion is more difficult than the old course. The next day was 36 holes on the old course. So the first day I went and shot 87, 14 over par. I walked off the golf course. It was horrific weather, wind and rain and all kinds of rubbish. And I had my coach with me there and I said, I'm done. I don't have what it takes. I do not have what it takes to play this game at this level. I'm done. After this tournament, I'm going to go home. I'm going to study or I'm going to get a real job. And he said, it's fine, but you're going to finish this tournament. I said, no, I'll finish this tournament, but I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have what it takes. I'm too nervous. Like, I'm literally jittering over the ball because I'm so well prepared that I just don't know how to.
Just had the voices in the head going.
Geez, like, everything was going.
Oh, man.
So the next morning I had to pick it up. And I'm like, well, I'm done after this. I went 9 under par, 6 under par. I ended up finishing under par for the tournament. I'd play golf like I didn't care. Like I literally had no inhibitions. It wasn't reckless or wild. It was just like, there's where I want to go hit it. There's where I want to go hit it. And then after I walked off the golf course, I'm like, oh, is this what I'm meant to feel all the time? So I didn't give up.
Sure.
I came home and I won 3 tournaments in a row because I finally understood that you've got to play golf without those inhibitions. Yes, you're still focused. You're still picking a target. You're still applying yourself. But you are you're giving in. You're not giving up. You're just giving in to the outcome.
Yeah.
And I was so focused on trying to produce results. And I played great after that, ended up turning professional. And then in my professional career, a very similar thing happened where I got to like a point where I'd prepared and I'd just done everything I possibly could, and then performance anxiety set in again. But it was like another level now. So amateur golf is here. Now you just climb up a little bit higher. It's the same demons. They just seem bigger. So I went to go see a sports psychologist, Dr. Carl Morris in Manchester. He did wonderful work with Oosthuizen, Poulter, Luke Donald back then. Again, giving away my age because they are now playing Live Tour.
And I'll get your thoughts on that just now.
And he said to me, you've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a brain. Can you hit a golf ball? Yeah. Can you hit the golf ball the same as all those girls who are winning? I said, yeah. He said, well, then what's the problem? I said, well, when I'm in the moment, like I'm not exercising. Okay, cool. We've got to work on your routines. We've got to work on how you concentrate and what you concentrate on. And then again, just learning more about myself and what was distracting me internally and externally, and just learning how to switch on and switch off. It's such a simple thing, you know, that movie Karate Kid where he says, oh, wax on, wax off. I know it seems like such a simple principle, but to try switch on focus with control on and off at will is a lot harder than what you think.
Yeah.
When you've got the looming, if I win this event, it's life-changing, it's going to sort me financially, I'm going to get into the British Open, I'm going to get all these invites, and that's kind of hanging over you while you're teeing off on the 10th hole. And you've still got 9 holes to play. Yeah, so, you know, it's just to learn to deal with those things, and you have to kind of get there, mess up, and then understand there's an issue here, I've got to work on it. So I never wanted to give up at that point. I needed something different, and I was getting frustrated. And that's when I also sort of came back from Europe, and I had a break at home. I worked on this. I went back and I played great. I had 2 really good seasons in Europe after that. Because I came home and just spent some time with the family, just kind of regrouped.
Sure.
And then went back out almost like well equipped and ready with my weapons of how I'm going to deal these.
So it's definitely been a journey of self-discovery.
Huge.
You know what I mean? Not just on the golf course, but, you know, as a human being, as a mother, as a ambassador, as a whatever it is. It's been,
Golf is definitely like a reflection of life. And I think a lot of the things that we have flaws as a person, as a personality, comes out on the golf course. If there's any cracks in your relationship, if you have a fight with your wife or your husband in the morning, it comes out on the golf course when you're playing because you're so vulnerable, you're so exposed. Everything is there to be, you know, shown. So you've got to have peace in all aspects of your life to play really, really good, confident golf. You can't have drama in the background.
Yeah.
It's there. It's at the back of your mind. And when the pressure's on, that's the first thing that comes up.
You spoke of the routines, and I noticed a lot of golfers have routines. It's exactly the same. They put the ball on the peg, and tee off sort of thing. Does that apply to you? Do you have like your routines and where you go, okay, cool, now I can actually hit the ball?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 aspects to that. And from a coaching point of view, maybe I can explain this. So when you are approaching a shot, there's a pre-shot routine and a pre-shot ritual. Mm-hmm. The ritual is the physical thing that you see, the walk up, line up, set up, pick a target, and execute. That's just what you're going through on a physical level. But the pre-shot routine is all the mental aspect that happens beforehand. What am I hitting? What's the wind doing? What do I want to do with the shot? Okay, water left, bunker right. Missing left is not an option. And then while you're sort of factoring all those elements is, how do I feel? Like, do I feel like I can go for this flag? Where am I in the field? Am I playing an opening round? Do I just want to post a good round? Am I chasing down a leader? Have 2 holes to go? All those things have to be factored into your decision making, because if you need to make a birdie in the next 2 holes to have a chance of winning, you're going to go for that flag.
Yeah.
If it's an opening round and you just want to set like a nice sort of starting score, you don't really attack flag. Well, I don't really attack flags in an opening round. Just try to put together a nice solid start.
Build that rhythm.
So that whole pre-shot routine happens before, and then you just go through the ritual.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So just to kind of break it down into those 2 aspects, because often people go, all right, I know what I'm doing. They get over the ball, and as they're about to pull the trigger, where do I want to go? Like, what am I trying to do here? And then that's when, you know, the cognitive brain sort of fights the subconscious brain.
I got you. That's very interesting. I think because people, when they break down golf, if you look at the top people like you, I mean, you make it look so easy. But what they don't realize is the amount of work that goes into it. Because, like you said, there's the ritual, there's the routine, there's the hours on driving ranges, playing rounds, practicing. And that's why you make it look easy. But it's not always the simplest game, is it? It's a great leveler.
No. Golf is not easy. If anyone asks me, I'll say point blank, golf is not easy. And actually, I taught a bunch of beginners like a week and a half ago. I said, I just want to put this out there to you before you decide to pursue this journey, because it is a journey.
It is a journey.
It is 90% rubbish. And it is 10% golden. And it's that 10% of making a long putt on the last hole that's going to bring you back. As you practice and play more and more, yes, that 90% may shift to 80-20, but it's predominantly pretty hard and pretty rubbish. So just prepare yourself for that psychologically before you think, you know, you're going to arrive and suddenly hit the ball like Rory McIlroy every shot. We all wish we could. Even Rory McIlroy wishes he could hit the ball at his best every single time. And it's just to create context.
Speaking of that, have you enjoyed the coaching side of it? Because you've got so much wisdom and experience, but sort of imparting that on other people, is that something you enjoy, that side of the other side of golf, if I can put it that way? I do. And it's interesting. I never thought I would be on that side of golf. You always, as a sports person, any sports person who wants to pursue their chosen profession as a career, you never look at, okay, if I don't make it, I want to be a coach. It's like kind of like second or third prize on the list. You're always pursuing it as if this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, for as long as I can, as long as my body or my health permits. And when I first came off European tour, I had to stop playing because there was no events. We had economic downturn and there were no events to play. So I had to come back home, and I said, well, I can't sit at home for 25 weeks of the year or more, 30 weeks of the year. I need to actually get a job. So, okay, well, what can I do? And I ended up getting a teaching post at Ram Park. And I thought, I don't know if I can coach. Like I'd coached on and off, as a junior to sort of help the kids, and did a bit of development coaching when I was at Wanderers and a junior golfer there. But it was not like, I can't wait to get up and go teach someone. And when I actually did it, I loved it, to see a raw person go from not being able to make any contact to suddenly hit the ball in the air, to see the excitement on their face. Oh, this is so cool. And to take them through their own personal journey at whatever skill level they may be at. I found that very rewarding. And I also then realized I had a lot to offer to trying to expedite your process of development. Rather do this, not that, because you're kind of wasting your time. Just do this and you'll see results quicker. And I really enjoy giving back to the game, and I enjoy helping people. I do focus a lot on the juniors and the ladies and the seniors. That's where I feel like I'm really in my comfort area, in my niche. Got it, yeah.
And they like my dirty jokes, which is also
I was
great.
about to say.
Yes. Like top level pros, I think I can help from a strategic point of view, but generally my mentor, John Dixon, who's also my coach, he's like the master, and they must go to him because he's been at it for so much longer than me, and he understands the fine tuning better than me. And also I think he just has more confidence in helping those top players. Remember, top players, they're looking for 1%.
Absolutely.
Whereas a new golfer or a club golfer who's struggling with a 24 handicap, come to me, I'll show you how to read the green and control your putts better. We'll improve your score by 6 shots.
Yeah.
The improvement is easier to see, and it's more instant. Whereas professional golfers, they're a lot more difficult.
Yes.
Let's be real, they are more difficult. But the margin for error is so small and so minute that sometimes you don't see it initially. And I find it a little bit challenging from that point of view, because they want to see an instant result.
Yeah.
Whereas amateur golfers, you can.
Yeah, that's just a wide array
of
improvement. Absolutely.
It is. So maybe, that pleases my ego better, that I can help you. But yeah, I just find them more rewarding. And also, they love their golf. They completely dedicated. They want to play golf and win that Saturday comp and, 350 Rand Willie's voucher. They want it, They're hungry.
Has it improved your golf?
Absolutely.
In the coaching space? Because
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe sort of taking a step that way has allowed you to take 2 steps that way, if I make sense.
If you see enough people making bad swings, you understand when you make it where it comes from. And you can pick up the cues. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it psychological? The shot means a lot to them. And you start to learn just by watching people. And also you're constantly reinforcing good things like basics, alignment, posture, space, balance. You're constantly reinforcing all these things. So, yes, I do think it does make you a better player, as long as you're able to keep playing in between. I think if you just coach endlessly, you don't have any time for yourself. Because at one point I was coaching a lot, almost 9-10 hours a day, like what my mentor, John Dixon, does. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, oh, the last thing I feel like doing is tipping out a crate of balls.
Yeah.
So as long as you have the balance of coaching, giving people your energy, and then still being able to have enough for yourself, whether at the beginning or the end, that's still important.
How much of it is a feel thing? Because I imagine it's all about feel. Like club in the hand, striking the ball, you're like, yes. Or you're like, hang on, we need to work on a few things here. If I'm breaking it down very simply,
How much of golf is feel?
as someone who's played it.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably 90% of it is feel. 10% of it is technical.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to relate this to like a fairly good golfer, like a professional golfer. 10% of it is technical because they've gone through the stages of working on their chipping, their pitching, their putting, their bunkers. They're at a proficient level.
Yeah.
Once you're at a proficient level, it's then all feel, confidence, trust, execution, all that internal stuff that you actually can't really see. That I think is the bigger part once you are a proficient golfer. While you're still on your journey, you've got to learn all the technical and mechanical aspects. But once you're proficient, it is feel. And confidence. Like so much of sport is confidence and like that raw self-belief.
Yeah.
Just being able to know that I can hit the shot or I can execute it or I can make this putt.
And are great swings born with players or are they made? You know what I'm trying to say? Because you have some people who just are absolutely so natural. They step up and most of the professionals look pretty good, but you can see that people that force it. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but you know what I mean?
I know
have
what
like
you
a
mean.
natural, like just
I
effortless.
used to play golf at Wanderers as an amateur, and there was a member there. Had the most hideous golf swing on the planet. Looked like a mosquito that had been sprayed with doom. It was just like arms and legs. And this old bully could shoot lights out. With this wonky swing that he didn't hit the ball so well, he had like so much self-belief and he would hustle. So, and there's a couple players on tour. I mean, there was a lady who played in Europe. Goodness gracious me. Rika Hakkarainen's Finnish girl. We used to call her Rika Hakkarainen again because her swing was just terrible. This chick won tournaments. She could chip and putt from anywhere. I just kept thinking, how does this chick win tournaments? But she was so cocky confident in her short game that she would hustle. So yes, having a good swing, having raw talent, hugely helpful.
Yeah.
Definitely sets you in the right direction. But there's no substitute for hard work.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Those that have got less talent and work at it end up being more successful, I think, in their career. And real talent is actually having mental talent and knowing what you're good at, what you're not good at, and not taking your talent for granted. Kind of going, listen, I've got a naturally good build, naturally strong, I can hit the ball far.
Yeah.
Keep at it. Work at it all the time. Don't take it for granted.
I suppose that applies to all sports, actually,
Every
at the end
sport.
of the day.
Yeah. Work ethic.
When you look back at your career now, and it's important that there's still quite a few more rounds in you, you look back at the tournaments you won and performances. Is there one or two that really stand out where you went like, "Jeez, the hard work has paid off"? Like, this is where I'm meant to be in my life right now, sort of thing.
So yes, I can think of two definite moments, and the one is when I'd just turned professional. My third event that I played as a professional was the SA Open, and I ended up winning the event, but I went 9 under par, 6 under par, and like a wounded animal 75 the final day, because suddenly I realized I had an 8-shot lead, and even Greg Norman lost an 8-shot lead. Someone told me that, and I'm like, what? Why would you tell me that before I play? I won by 2.
That's all right. Yeah, it worked out.
It's a bit of a sweat, like dragging my leg in the last hole. It's just not pretty golf. But I'd won the event, and when I shot that 63, I remember getting off the golf course, sitting down and doing my scorecard, and I played with Leanne Pace and Lorette Moritz, and I'm adding up my scorecard, and I'm going, this is wrong. Add it up again. And I'm like, 63, no ways. I'm missing like 2-hole score here somewhere. And I kept adding it up. And I'm like, 63. How did I make 9 birdies? No bogeys. I was oblivious. I didn't even know. I was having so much fun just playing golf, hitting shots, chatting to my lady. I didn't even know what I was doing. And I kept adding my score up. And I go, I can't hand the score in. It's wrong. And they said, no, you've got a 6-shot lead. I said, what? Next day I did it again. I 3-putted 3 of the holes coming in. So I made 9 birdies the next day, and then I had 3-putt to finish. I should have shot 18 under. But I did it again. I said, there's no ways. There's no ways I've done this. And then day 3, reality check happened. you're now leading a tournament. You've got one round to go,
Yeah.
and you've got these, experienced contenders on your tail. Bogey the first hole, bogey the second hole. Oh, okay, well, I'm down to 6-shot lead now. And just like kind of...
How many more do I
Yeah,
have?
let me get my little calculator out. But that was a great moment because I almost felt like I've achieved perfection in the round of golf, where I had so much fun. I walked off the course. I didn't know what I shot. And when I was done, I was like, this is great. And I felt like I put everything together, all the work that I'd done, the swing work, the practice, the training, the focus, the concentration, and the biggest ingredient, the enjoyment. I had so much fun that day. And guess what? I played well.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's great when you're able to have fun doing what you do and it produces results. When it feels like it's a chore and it's hard work, and it's not so great.
No, exactly.
Because it wears you down. The second time was last year, actually, at Serengeti, my first win on the Standard Bank. I had a good friend of mine on the bag with me, Neil Homan. We've been friends for many years. I said to him, because he was away traveling, he says he's back for a week and he's got nothing to do. I said, well, great, come caddy for me. And he just loves coming to chat to the girls and catch up. And, he just enjoys being out there, but he had spare time. And I hadn't won since 2013. Yeah, 9 years.
9 years.
I hadn't won in 9 years. I've been playing. I had a lot of second places. I had a lot of first princesses, but no wins in that time. Oh, the odd pro-am, but I mean tournament, actual tournament. So last year when I played at Serengeti, and I had a great score the first round, I had a good score the second round, then the third round. These girls were chasing me down, and he's like, just stay calm. I'm like, you don't understand how bad I want this. Like, it's well overdue.
Yeah. That fire's burning.
And he was just so instrumental to just saying, just stay calm. You've got 3 holes to go. You can go par, and you're going to win by 2. Just chill kind of thing. And when I was eventually, knocked that last putt in, it's like that sigh of relief. And it's like, are we done? Have I actually done it? Because I know it's not a major event. At every level, like winning locally, winning internationally, winning majors, like the bar just keeps going up
levels,
and up.
Absolutely.
When you haven't won for 9 years, it feels like a big thing.
Absolutely.
It feels huge, especially when you've been second place so many times. So I ended up winning 5 last year.
Yeah,
4 in a row.
Top prize.
Yeah,
didn't
4
you?
in a row after that. It's just so funny how once you can get your nose over the finish line once, it's not like the floodgates open and I'm so good. It's just like, it's not that difficult. You've just got to keep yourself on track, stay focused, not have any oopsies along the way. And so often you look back and you go, oh man, that shot. Finish second.
So will you,
that shot.
do you
that
lie
shot.
awake sometimes at night going through the round in your head?
I try to do like my post-catharsis after the round, and then I'm done.
Oh, okay.
I don't mull over it,
Shut
and
it
I
down.
don't lose sleep. Yeah,
Yeah.
straight after my round, I go, oh, you missed there. This was good. If I need to hit balls, I go hit balls. We need to work on my putting, I go putt, and then I'm done.
Okay.
Done. Tomorrow, a new day, worry about it then. I don't lie in bed at night and think, well, try not to.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda sort of.
No,
No.
no.
It's not healthy.
It isn't, and
Yeah.
I used to. I used to sit up for hours looking at my stats and looking at my fairways and regulation and this and going, oh, where am I missing? Where am I? And it starts to eat you up inside if you start over-analyzing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen Live Golf dominates headlines. Had players sanctioned and all sorts of things. There's talk of a women's sort of Live Golf league, I suppose, at some point. Do you think this whole Live Golf has been good for golf in general? Has it been a wake-up call to the traditional powers that be, or is there a place, or do you think this is just a money grab sort of vibe?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure yet. I still think the players that are on Live Tour still have enough ranking that they haven't really felt the full ramifications of being taken off the world rankings and how it's going to affect their playing going forward. I think in the next maybe year, you'll actually see, because those players will fall completely out
Sure.
of the world rankings, and then they won't be able to go and play the majors. The talk of the women's event, I've also heard about it at this stage. It's all talk. The only thing that sort of made me think about it differently is someone like Cameron, where he won the British Open and then straight away signed up for Live. And in my opinion, I think it's a mistake, because he's still got so much golf to give and so much to offer playing on the main tour. I mean, he's young, he's confident, and he's got a major under his belt, and he's only just starting.
It's just exciting to
Like,
watch.
stay
Yeah.
and do what you can here for as long as you can. So there, I don't know if maybe the money bells rang louder than playing golf. Because you also got to ask yourself, why do you play golf?
Yeah.
When you were a kid, who did you watch growing up? I watched Nick Price, Ernie Els, and Nick Folder. Those were the guys I grew up watching as a young kid, and then later it moved on to a young Tiger Woods and Davis Love III and Jim Furyk. Those were the guys, Vijay Singh, that I watched as a kid, thinking, man, these guys are so cool.
Yeah.
I would love to play golf like them. And those were like the idols. Annika Sorenstam, she was towards the end of my amateur career, she was still playing quite well. So she was the female mentor or role model. You think, well, I'd love to be able to achieve what she's achieved. And that's also why you play golf, is to go and be like the greats, like your role models who came
Win
before.
majors and names etched in history.
Yes. The fact that you can make a living out of it, great.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't, because I haven't formally got an opinion about it yet, because I still don't think we actually know where it's going to go and how it's going to end up.
But how much money is enough money? You know what I mean? Like, you have guys playing, and was it Charles Schwartzel who got, it was 60 million rand or something after he won his first or something crazy like that.
And then he made 86 million rand in his first event that he won. That's above the whatever contract he signed for X amount of $1 million. Yeah,
whatever it is.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it's such a pertinent point you make there. Why do you play golf?
Yeah.
Like, because you get into it not to earn a living, right? It's to be great. It's to be in a sport. Yes, I mean, there is that aspect of it.
You do want to earn a living. I mean, you still want to exist and be able to.
But when you've picked your
to pay your bills,
cup for the first time, it wasn't, I want to win $1 million. Like, it was about, I love golf. Yes. And I get that the progression from amateur then
that was
is about
my
living.
reasoning.
Yeah.
I love the game, and with what I'm doing now, with the mix of teaching, playing, commentary within the game, and also I'm doing my PG diploma within the game, is because I love the game and I want to be in the game. The fact that I can generate income from those different avenues is great. It really is fantastic. And it's a skill that I've got through something that I love. And there was a saying many years ago, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I don't work for a living. I play golf every day, or teach golf, or hit golf balls, or tell old buddies to stick their bum out and brush the grass.
Make
it's
Dale
great.
blush in the
I
commentary
love
booth.
making Uncle Dale blush. That is my favorite. But so I don't feel like I actually work.
Yeah.
You know, I look at people that sit behind a desk job and they have to sit in Zoom meetings all day, and I just think, I'm not built for that. I can't. But we're all different.
Absolutely.
And the world needs different people. So if Liv came to me and offered me 100 million to go and play, I probably would go. But then I'd say, can I still commentate, and can I still teach, and can I still do what I do? Because I still love the game.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one, because 100 million in your bank account would be quite fantastic. I don't know if I could spend that. Well, I could find a way. My husband will spend it.
I think you could find a way.
My husband will spend it. He'll find a way to spend it. But yeah, do you play golf because you love the game and you want to pursue the best career that you can etch for yourself, or are you there just to make as much bucks as you can?
You win one major, and I mean, I think you're pretty much made in terms financially.
Yeah, with the endorsements that you get after that, surely, yeah. Especially for the men.
Especially for the men.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Women is now catching up to
that.
women
is improving. But what the biggest thing is, golf is also so much about tradition, history, rules, This sort of disrupts that whole thing with Live Tour. It's just such a tricky sort of thing, because they have disrupted, they have turned heads, they've got so much money to spend. But the future of golf, for me, looking at it as someone I'm not the biggest golf fan. I respect golf. I watch when I can and play when I can. But I just think that this is an unhealthy situation at the moment.
Yeah, I think time will tell. The closest thing that I can relate it to, in my understanding, is if you look at cricket, where we had 5-day test match, which to me was so long to watch. 1-day test match, and now we have 2020.
Yeah.
So if you can try relate it to that, golf, and cricket's been around for a long time as well. There's a longer version of the game, there's a short version of the game, and there's a very power-packed, condensed version with music and dances and things and all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and privateers who own that team.
Yeah.
It's possibly going in that sort of direction, albeit on like a different level. There's one person, one entity funding it, but I think time will tell. I don't think we can accurately put down anything in concrete as to where it's going to go and how it's going to be. We still need to see what's going to happen.
Do you think a Live Tour for women would be good for the game?
I think it would be great for the women's part, to give it equal status.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the ramifications as to how it'll affect those players who are playing on the US or the European tour, because they also get sanctioned or banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it will certainly ruffle feathers.
Well, there has to be
Yeah.
permutations from that. And you can't do one for the men but not for the women.
Absolutely.
You have to have a certain approach of uniformity.
Tandi, we're running out of time here, and I could talk to you for hours. What's next for you? What is you said the PGA diploma. That's exciting. That's something pretty prestigious. Is it not in South Africa in this context? And for you, I mean, that would be something slap bang on the CV, yes.
Absolutely. I think it's something to be very proud of once it's on your CV. I'm in my final year, my third year. I've got my residentials this coming week, which is 3 days of lectures and like seminar almost. Then the year starts, you do your assignments, you do your work, and then do final exams next year, January. And then after that, graduate.
But you got this. I mean, you got this. Come on.
Hey, listen, it's been a while since I wrote exams. I kind of, very happy I made it through this year, January, studying whilst away on holiday, trying to study like business law. Just thinking about having a nice glass of wine on the beach, but okay, we're going to study law. It was tough. So I'll be very happy once it's done. And the main reason why I'm doing it is I think it's going to open doors for me down the line. It's more of the holistic approach where it covers business management, golf as an entire industry, and you can kind of vary where you want to go down the line, as well as it's an internationally recognized diploma. So if I did want to leave, which I do not, it does open doors.
Sure.
But also I think down the line there's more that'll offer as you get older to sort of play more pro-ams, what have you. As mentioned earlier, I've got a busy couple of weeks coming up. So I got my residential, and then I'm doing commentary next weekend for the Kit Kat Pro-Am at Irene.
Fantastic.
So I'll be walking comms there, making Uncle Dale blush. And then the Monday I fly down to Durbs and playing the first Standard Bank Series event of this year at Cotswold Downs. Looking super forward to that.
I'll see you there.
Oh, you'll see me there.
I'll see
Great,
you there.
Great. And then I come back, and then I got lessons the rest of the week. So pretty much a nice big balance of all those different things for me, and that'll kind of continue throughout the year.
Well, long may it continue.
Thank you.
Thanks for making golf so fun. Thanks for not bringing biscuits. I mean, come on. But it's been awesome to have you on the show. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds, because I think you've still got a role to play in golf, especially when you eventually one day decide to go into the business end of things.
Thank you. Look forward to that.